I think this game is based on jeopardy only. I think jeopardy you have to ask a question or whatever. So how this works is we will move around these teams. The first time I call on you, you are going to need to have a team name because I will be keeping score. Essentially the way that it works is first team gets to pick a category and we work down. Points effectively, the number of points that it says there is how many points you will get for answering a question correctly. Points roughly correlate with how difficult the question is. The first three, we didn't talk about Masters and Cameron. This will give us a good opportunity to do that. The first three categories deal with intention. So intention in relation to family contracts, intention in relation to commercial contracts, and intention in relation to preliminary agreements. There are some random ones that could have anything to do with anything, and there are some revision questions which are pretty much based on stuff we've done up until this point. First group gets to pick and they'll just do what they do. The second group can either pick a new category and go with a 10-point question or can do a 20-point question. We understand the logic of how this flows. All right. I am going, have we got a volunteer group to go first? No, we don't. So I'm going to throw myself right into the middle. I'm going to throw you in because you're in the middle. Okay, quickly converse with each other, work out what your team name is, and then decide what category you've got a moment. By the way, if when they ask a question, you guys, they'll have some time to consult, work out what they're going to do. The rest of your group should do that too, because if they get it wrong or you think they get it wrong, you can challenge them. If you challenge them and you are correct, they will get no points and you will get double whatever it is that you're going for. First challenge is in. Should have brought my little buttons because I do like a button. Okay, everybody understand the rules of this game? I'll just find my one and only whiteboard marker. Okay, what are you called?
Team Debacle.
Team Debacle. All right, have you chosen a category? Pick a category. This is completely random. Commercial for 10. Loving your work. What is the rebuttable presumption with business or commercial agreements? Talk to each other. Okay, what is the rebuttable presumption? All right, 10.1, so we're going to do them pretty quickly. All right, anybody want to have a go? No. Well, you can't have a go until they've at least had a go. I'm from the Paduma Institute, my favourite place. I am the CEO.
That there is an intention to create a legally binding contract or agreement.
So the rebuttable presumption with business or commercial agreements is that there is an intention to create a legally binding agreement. Do we have a challenger? If anybody challenge, by the way, if you challenge, have a different answer and you're wrong, you will get minus double points, by the way. Everybody happy with that? So, yes, factually correct. A good answer in an exam to a question like this might also explore the question of what a rebuttable presumption actually is. Because I'm kind of doing what they call flipping the classroom, which initially I thought I'd be good at that because I always walk down the back. I thought I just had to stand at the back of the classroom and do it, but no, apparently that means you read in advance and I do activities. Yeah, these, it's very nastily, I'm going to give you those points, by the way, because we're just starting out. But these rebuttable presumption, that's been an exam, like what is a rebuttable presumption has been an exam question at least once in the short answer questions at the beginning of an exam. And actually it was I thought that was an easy giveaway, but it was one that many people did very badly on. So presumptions are something that I've spoken about quite a bit tonight, but I don't think I've used the word rebuttable as such. Any old school debaters here? Oh, yay. We are so cool and they're not. Debaters do that. They rebut. So somebody puts an argument and then the other side's job is to rebut the arguments that they put. A rebuttable presumption works the same way. There is a presumption, and if nobody's worried about it, we just move on. Okay? These days with Ermogenes basically says, well, that doesn't really mean anything. You no longer have to prove there's an agreement. It's only if somebody wants to disprove an agreement that we have to go through that process. Okay, so so you'll find that there are a lot of presumptions. The most famous you'll find is you would have known before you started law school and in criminal law. Anyone want to hazard a guess? Innocent until proven guilty. You are presumed to be innocent until you are proven guilty. So the rebuttable presumption is you are innocent. Presumption and assumption are synonyms. This is one of those things which as a native English speaker, I get the difference, but it's really hard to explain. And a presumption is one step more sure than an assumption. Like an assumption is...
Before an assumption. It's kind of you presume it before...
See, I would put it the other way around. That an assumption is based on, it's a hypothetical, where a presumption is you're that little bit more sure that it's right. But it's easy to chip. Yeah. Well, you're talking about how to deal with it. Reasonable person, again, there are different ways, and some presumptions are stronger than others. So an innocent until proven guilty, that is a presumption that requires beyond reasonable doubt. So it's a very high level. In most commercial civil cases, it's on the balance of probabilities. Ermogenes says to us the presumption in relation to contracts, in commercial contracts, is actually a very low bar indeed. That's all it is. Good work, guys. Next group, we'll head this way. The trio down the back, have you got a name? Sorry? RAM. Would you like to go family for 20 or would you like to pick another category? Sorry? You'll do commercial for 10 points. Oh, sorry. Oh, commercial for 20 points, sorry. Too easy. What is an honour clause and what are their effects? All right, got a minute or so. The rest of you?
Should get the points.
Well, you challenge them. You'll get double. What are honour clauses and what are their effects? By the way, if you can cite something along the way, I could give you random additional points because I'm the boss and there are no rules for me. Actually, there are a whole heap of rules for me and I'm probably not complying with them. Sorry? Pursuant to the game at hand. There is a rebuttable presumption that I know what I'm doing when it comes to awarding points. Have we got an answer? Nice and loudly.
Okay.
Okay, guys, listen. Honour clauses?
Honour clauses either expressly or implicitly provide that an agreement will be binding in honour only, so that they honourably pledge themselves. And the case that is relevant to that is Rose and Frank and Co.
Yeah.
And J.R. Compton and Rose.
Okay. And any more?
The effect is that an agreement is not entered into as a legal agreement, and they're not bound. They're not bound.
If they are, in fact, honour clauses. Do we have a challenger on that? I feel like I need music or ticking or something. I'm sure one of my slide packs has ticking on it.
Can you repeat the answer because we couldn't hear it at the front?
No. It's a short answer. I'm trying not to speak. So they expressly indicate. So you did actually say expressly or implicitly. I do wonder about the implicit element there. Again, because the presumption is that commercial people intend to be bound, and as Ryan so ably pointed out earlier on, a court will assume that if something's in a document, it's there for a purpose. So I think it needs to be quite express, but it might, I will take implicit because in both those cases that we were just talking about, so even though they're called letters of comfort basically are letters that set out honour clauses or have honour provisions in them. And so in MMC, for example, it wasn't directly in the letter, or actually it probably was in the letter thinking about it, but that was augmented by the other activities. Valid honour clauses preclude the agreement being enforced by a court of law. All right, next group. Have you got? I'm going to give you 20 points in a second. Next group, where do you want to go? Firstly, do you have a name? Sorry? Mia Puff. Let's hear some of this puffery. You want to go for 30 points, get a hard one possibly, or do you want to try another category?
All right, we'll go random.
Random. Oh, 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 oh. Even I have no memory of what I've got in here. Why must parties show an intention to be bound before their agreement will be enforced? What's the legal logic? You have a much better microphone than I do. I do, I like those Zoom microphones. They're very... There was some nice research today that said that the audibility of a recording does more for the speaker's credibility than their actual qualifications. So I think that my hard work in editing these recordings should pay off. Sorry, I'm disturbing everybody else so that they can't catch up with you. What do you reckon?
Me?
Gerald.
So the parties enter into legal obligations and they're mutually communicated parties.
So how does that answer why must the parties show an intention to be bound? So again, I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, but this is what I'm trying to do is, at the end of the day, these are the kind of questions you'll see in exams sometimes, you know, like... Sorry? If you can't enforce something, then you're not going to be legally bound. So, but how does that relate to intention?
The intention of coming to terms with the agreement, whatever that was.
So the intention to come to the terms, so... For clarity?
Certainty.
But certainty is a different element. So we've got, maybe I'm giving too much away here, but we've got 4 elements to a contract. for formation, don't we? We have agreement made up of offer and acceptance, or a meeting of the minds. We have consideration, which we no longer need to think of as price because we've got a little bit more sophisticated in that. Then we have intention, and then we have certainty, which we'll talk about next week. So why do we need certainty? Sorry, why do we need intention? Why we need certainty is because I'm like clearly losing the plot. But actually, perhaps the answer to the same, both questions are the same. Right, anybody want to challenge them? I thought they were a bit muddled personally, but Ryan's ready to challenge. But you want to check with your team because you could lose 20 points here if you... Okay. Okay, they're going. It's not rogue. All right.
I would answer the question by saying that bound up with the other elements of contract formation, it prevents people being bound by gratuitous promises.
So as part of the other, bound up with the other elements of a contract, the demonstration of intention prevents people from being caught up in a gratuitous promise. What do you think? Anybody else want to have a go? I'm actually going to split it with you because I think you were there, you just weren't being precise enough. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to answer a question, you need to answer the question as opposed to just talk about statements of the law. But at the end of the day, if we go right back to where we started with how do we tell an agreement, a contract, as opposed to just an agreement or a relationship, it comes down to that idea that it will be enforceable. And so without that intention to be enforced at the beginning, I don't think we quite get there. So again, I mean, I would have also accepted it's one of the elements for formation, so we need intention. You're not going to get an enforceable contract if you don't have the elements. Sorry?
We did say so that it was legally enforceable.
Yeah, but you didn't actually give me those words that made me believe that you understood. Sorry?
You said legally enforceable.
So, I need to see the link to the question, okay? I need to make sure it answers the question. So, good, looking at here, it's the essence of a contract, regardless as a class of obligations, that there is a voluntary assumption of a legal enforceable obligation. So again, intention actually overlaps to an extent with consideration here. I mean, they do all overlap to an extent. But what we're saying is that you have volunteered to take on this obligation in exchange for the consideration that will flow either to you or somewhere else. Okay, what am I going to do here? I'm going to give you 10 and I'm going to let you have 5 here because you took them home. All right. Are you that little group of 4 in the middle? Do you have a name?
Yeah, Team Blue.
Team Blue. Where do you want to go? Are you going for the points? So you can do a random one for 20, commercial for 30, or you can start a whole new category. Commercial for 30, in for the big bucks. All right, we get a little problem question here. So Charlie asks his father, Martin, to lend him $10,000 for the purpose of starting a business. Martin agrees to lend Charlie the money at 4% below the bank interest rates, but then later refuses to give Charlie the money, and Charlie has to borrow it from the bank at commercial rates. Can Charlie sue Martin? Or would that take the sheen off their relationship? Boom. Okay, I am happy for you to think about can he sue on the basis of is there a binding contract? Don't worry about damages or anything, but is there a contract that he can sue on? All right, everybody think about this. If they get it wrong and you want to challenge them, you guys can get 60 points. There are, your team blue, I've got to write your name down. I like to get through at least one more round of this, by the way, before we go, and, well, you know, it's 5 to 8. All right, what do you reckon? Yes, no, maybe, he should really go and get a lawyer? No?
No, we don't believe so.
Why not?
Well, first of all, it's a domestic relationship,
Yep.
so that doesn't apply in regards to intention, as in they didn't.
All right, so domestic relationship means there's no intention. So there's a presumption that there's no intention.
Yeah, so,
And so,
yeah, also what did you say? Sorry, I need to check.
that's all right?
Yeah, and the case quote is merit and merit.
Merit, merit, okay. So these guys are saying no, family relationship, no intention, merit and merit is, all right, do we have a challenger? Oh, no. Oh, he's running a tight ship, you Captain Kin. Sure we don't have a challenger? Come on, you want a challenge, don't you? David, are you going rogue first?
Charlie agreed to Martin's counter offer to add interest to the loan.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't say that.
No, it doesn't. Well, he agreed. You can work on the basis that there is an agreement to lend Charlie money at what's the bank interest rate at the moment? 3.9. So he's actually making a profit. Maybe let's read that as credit card interest rate, so it actually makes sense. So it's a generous interest rate, is what that question is trying to imply. I'm sure. Would you lend money to Charlie at 3.9?
Well, my daughter got a house today.
Oh, congratulations! That's exciting. Well, a small business loan is unlikely to be at house rates when it's unsecured, though. I'm thinking you'd be lucky to get money to, like an overdraft rate for a small business at less than 7, probably more than that without security. So, you know, let's say it's $10,000.
Personal loan would be higher.
A personal loan, but let's say effective interest rate of 2%. So that's what they've agreed. But these guys you're challenging have said, well, there's no intention because they're family members. Okay, where is my challenger? My challenger is there or here? Okay, challenge. All right, what's the challenge?
Just because someone is a family member does not give them a right to
I better record you.
absolutely no contract.
It just forms the part of the surroundings.
All right, so what would...
Might or might not be a contract between family members, and you can have contracts between family members.
So, key case here?
There was... Okay.
I can see it over there. I can move over. I can share your points with another group.
People who came from Scotland and came over to Australia.
Scott Nichol or Nichols and someone.
And they gave up everything to come over, and someone said, we'll give you
Yeah.
the house and everything. And they
So in that case, there was a rebuttable presumption, but we have got a much more recent case that has changed the law in this area. Particularly, I keep referring to, we haven't talked about the detail of it. It's Ermogenes. Is it Rufus Ermogenes? Ermogenes. So Ermogenes reminds us, at the end of the day, this is why I think I have not bothered with lots of time on these other cases. I have bothered with them on the desk recording, and you should have a look at that. But the key issue in relation, I'll come to you in just a second, I promise. The key thing that we need to remember is it's really easy to overcomplicate the intention with family relationships. There is a rebuttable presumption that if it's a family or domestic relationship, there is no contract. It's a rebuttable presumption, has been rebutted. Pratt and Ashton and Pratt, thank you, I'm still not 100% well, but there's no excuse for that. That's just ridiculous. Ashton and Pratt is a very recent example of that. Todd and Nickel is the one that you were talking about then, another example. So they're rebuttable. But these days, pretty much since Irma Genus, it is not a high bar to identify that there is a contract. And so basically Charlie could sue Martin. Martin would be the one that would have the onus of proof of demonstrating that it was a promise made out of love and affection, and that there was no intention for it to be binding. The fact that there is an interest rate impacts that.
Okay,
Tao's next. Sorry, I'd forgotten your name for a second. What were you going to say?
Because my point is, because it's the 10,000, so the Charlie can say the 10,000 is not a small amount. So
it's not a small, yeah. Well, if they are, in fact, Martin and Charlie Sheen, it's probably coffee money.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's not a small amount. There is an interest rate. These are excellent points. Let me move on to the next slide so you can see the answer that I have there. Oh, I've lost my own slide set over here. No problem. Okay, so sorry, Team Blue, I'm not going to give you that one. I'm going to split the, what number of points? That was 30. Going to split them between, so you've got now 5, 30, 40, and Team Debacle are now at 25. All right, this team here, what do
Before we move on, I want to ask is that in this case, this is a family arrangement, at the same time possibly a commercial because of the interest payment or whatever. But if it's a family arrangement, wouldn't the person who need to prove a contract, which is suing for the contract, would be the son? Why is it that the debt?
Actually, you're right. I've said that the wrong way around before. I've just realised that the obligation, you're absolutely right, the onus would be on Charlie to demonstrate that there was a contract, because the presumption would be the other way around. You can't get 20 points, but I'll give you 1. And then I will take 1 away if you humiliate me again. Do you have a team name?
Team Kit Kat. Team Kit Kat.
Team Kit Kat. Okay, I'm on a diet. They're eating chocolate in front of me and they're proving me wrong. Let's hope they pick something hard.
This mathematically, right? If there's a prize, what's the prize?
There is a trophy.
Serious?
There is.
Oh, okay.
There is a trophy.
At this stage, right? The only way to win this is to go for competition.
Okay, let's head back. All right, where are you going?
Do you have 2 trophies or 1?
Depending on how big the team is, everybody in the team might actually get one. All right, where are you going? It's the glory, it's the glory.
The family for 50.
Family for 50, you can't have family for 50, you can have commercial for 40. Commercial for 40. Hey, this is my team of very prepared students that I'm expecting. Okay, I just need to walk over here so I can read it. Frank and Ben did not get on, father and son did not get on. Frank owed a delivery company which Ben frequently used for his furniture business. Frank was delivering an antique dining setting for Ben by truck when the truck was involved in an accident. The dining setting was damaged beyond repair. Ben seeks to sue Frank for damages for breach of contract. Did Ben and Frank have a legally enforceable contract. I'm going to give each group a minute or two to read, come up with a response in relation to these. Oh, you're all very quiet. I've got to say, isn't it nice that all of the screens aren't flickering today? Or that none of the screens are flickering today is actually a better way to put that sentence. If you give me an answer with assumptions in it. All right, how we going, dudes? What do we reckon? Team Kit Kat?
We would believe there is legally binding contract.
Okay, a legally binding contract. Why? What are the issues here?
Well, I think it's more, I won't say it's frank and bad, but more like the company itself, the delivery company.
That is a very good point, actually. Excellent, well done.
Go again.
Okay, because I never want to negotiate with you, ever. Okay, so it's the company. The fact that the company is owned by these parties, though, is something that the court might lift the veil. Does it remind you of any cases? It's reminding them of cases. Are you just going to stick, you're going to hold? Is there anything else that you want to say there? Does anybody want to challenge their answer? You can add. I'm not sure what good it'll do you, but let's see.
So the intention requirement in respect of a contract can be satisfied where the transaction between family members is essentially commercial.
Yep.
And that comes out of a case called Rufus and Brewster.
Rufus and Brewster, where the family members did not get along.
Yes. And a very similar fact pattern to this, they also had some items in a truck that were damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The truck was driven to Broken Hill and then he drove it back and they were damaged. Or the truck itself was damaged or something or other. All right, but you're not challenging, you're just providing them with some support.
Yeah, so they've entered into this agreement with a commercial intention, and it was that rather than social.
No citation there, because I'm obviously crap at this. Okay, I'm going to turn that into a 41 for you, and I'll see how generous I am. What's your team name?
We're Snail and Bottle.
Snail and Bottle. Oh, see, showing the love for the torts, that could hurt you in the long run. Dr. Popper is, you know, my kind of law school bestie, but at the same time, I do need more love than I am needier than she is. All right. Where are we going? Come on, quickly, got to make a choice because people are going to need to run out and get the train any minute now.
Random for 20.
Random for 20. Oh, ho, ho. Oh. Too easy. All right, you got 30 seconds. What is meant by rebuttable presumption?
Do you want me just to read? It is a presumption that arises in a fact situation which can be negated by a party presenting evidence to show that the presumption should not apply.
I don't even want to mess around with... All right. So, the debacle, team debacle. Where do you want to go next? Quickly. Make a choice. See if we can get around, whiz around quickly. Get one more question each. Random for 30. Oh, this a nice one. What potential problems are involved in making an apparently serious, oh God, serious spelling mistake, serious offer as a practical joke? I'm thinking something along the lines of my random promises to give everybody HDs if they give me chocolate. Oh. Yeah, okay, you ready? You got an answer if you need to challenge? All right, go for it. What's your answer? I'll come closer to you so the recording gets it.
It could be
Please,
misconstrued.
can I just stop everybody now? Because this is...
Can I just go on the record? We're not actually reading our answers from the textbook.
Don't give a blah, blah,
That's
blah.
why it's a shitty answer.
So you haven't prepared. No.
We're just
No. It's just like, actually, we all have to stop. I know, I do it myself. We all have to stop prefacing this is a dumb answer, or this is a dumb question, or this is a shitty answer, because it doesn't give our clients any confidence in what it is that we're doing. If you're not confident in your answer, why the hell should I be? So anyway, sorry, go on.
Okay, so it could be misconstrued as an offer, and if another party acts on the presumption of delivery of that promise,
Yep.
then it could be potentially construed as a contract, and you could be sued for breach of contract.
What kind of test do you reckon you'd use to apply that?
So you might want to look at whether it was a unilateral contract, potentially, maybe, as an offer to
I might move on. Okay. Anybody want? Oh, these guys want to have a go. What are you going to add, subtract? Are you going to challenge? By the way, you can.
Do we want to challenge or do we want to?
Challenge or add? Oh, have we got a challenge up here?
Oh, I think maybe strictly speaking, we're adding.
Okay, I'll come to you after these guys add or challenge got here first.
Bit of both, I think.
Maybe we'll.
I think it's
I'm sorry.
We're going with
Clarify. Okay, let's see where we go. In other words, do you think they're a little bit right and you're adding to it? Or clarifying something in a way?
We're making it right.
They're making it right. Okay. Spoken like a true law student. Good. All right, what have you got to say?
The potential problem, so the intention involved is subjective. And there's been a case, so it was Air Great Lakes, where it was suggested that a subjective intention not to be bound will prevent a contract arising, provided that subjective intention is actually known to the other party. So if you make a practical joke and an offer, it's okay if the other party knows it's a joke, but if the other party doesn't know it's a joke, you could be bound by something objectively.
Which is, it seems like that's the case.
I'm a bit concerned about your use of subjective. I'm going to come back to that and just see what these guys have got to add or clarify. Okay.
Just going to say you can apply the objective test.
You can apply an objective test. So we now have got a discussion about what kind of test it is. I think it is an objective test. Yeah. So if you subjectively, you know you're joking.
Yes.
If objectively, somebody else having the same knowledge as you would have thought you were serious, you could be in what we technically in the legal professional call the poo. So there is actually a case. That would require a little bit of research. Unless the joke would be apparent to a reasonable person, the joker might find himself. So Air Great Lakes is actually a good citation there. What is relevant is that if the parties knew each other and had a particular way of dealing with each other, so I would be thinking now, if I offer you $1 million for a case book, you would pretty quickly know that I'm joking. Our first class, maybe not so much. So I'm in less trepidation now than I was earlier on. Okay, I am going to, where am I going to give this? Because I need to do something. That was your snail in the bottle. And you there, what was it? It was 30 points. I'm going to give you 15 each for it. Then I have to do maths in my head. 30, 40, thank you. That's how it goes. Alrighty. Okay, next, our next crew up. Oops. What do you want to do? Quickly. Hey, sorry, that's team, is that you, Team Debacle? No, we just went. Oh, you just went. Okay, sorry. Ram. Are you going to go for it with that 50 for commercial, or are you going to start something new? What do they want? 50. Okay. Whoa, one we haven't spoken about today. Okay, now we haven't really talked about government contracts at all. In the decision of administration of Papua New Guinea and Lae, why did the court find there was no legally binding agreement? With such golden shiny prizes on offer, you can see why it matters to come to class prepared. How are we doing? It's almost 15:15. Pardon? Whatever I say when I go. All right, what do we think? All right, share with your loud voice.
I'm just going to say, make sure I'm they held that it was.
I'm coming closer to you, so can you guys listen?
They held that was provided gratuitously and as a policy, and it wasn't actually found to be a binding.
Do you remember what the facts of the case were?
I have a vague memory, and I'm trying to remember.
It was that he had a farm with cattle, and there was a tick problem, and the government came and they provided people to do
tick eradication program.
And they didn't do it properly.
In fact, they were all drunk.
Yes. Yeah, and they did it as part of just helping out in terms of their policy. They never actually were. There was no contract.
Okay.
It wasn't legally binding.
So it wasn't because it was found to be a gift, just a policy.
Yeah.
Do we have a challenger?
More seems around intention. There was no intention to create a legally binding agreement. It was just in effect policy.
I will. Basically, it's like woolen mills. It's just very hard. Whoa! All right. Okay, that mere puff. Where are you going? Where are you going? Gerald? I'll choose for you if you don't choose quick. Random for 40. Superstar Steamers ran a competition with a week's cruise as a prize. The entry form contained the words, "The judge's decision is final and no correspondence will be entered into." By entering this competition, entrants agree to be bound by the rules, much like what's happening right here, right now. So Adele submitted a correct entry, but she didn't win the prize, much like what's been happening right here, right now. She wants to sue. Would she be successful in an argument that the term saying the judge's decision is final is an attempt to oust the jurisdiction of the courts? So where I talk about this in the desk lectures is sort of the more fulsome discussion about agreements to agree and a little look at a couple of different clauses and what works and what doesn't work. So is Adele turning tables, or is she going to be successful? I'm stifling your conversation. I'll go away for a minute, but not much more than a minute. Need to make sure Team Blue have an opportunity to throw you all out of the water here, because I know they can do it. All right. Would Adele be a winner? A winner's grinners? Nah, why not?
She voluntarily entered into the competition knowing that that was a contingency of entering. That the judge's decision would be final.
Do we have, so she had a voluntary assumption of that, obligation, the obligation to agree with what the judge said? I'm assuming there could be lots of different people who got the right answer too. Challenges? Alternative views? Ah, a bit late, sorry. I'm now trying to move us a bit quickly. So it's a different thing. To say judge's decision is final is different from saying you can't take this to court. Again, it goes similarly to this idea that you can say that before we take something to court, we need to mediate. But that's quite a different thing again too. So this is a competition. It's like a unilateral contract, a competition. It's like you submit an entry, we'll select a correct entry and we'll give that person a prize. But you might have an ability to sue if they said entries needed to be in by midnight and you in fact awarded the prize to somebody who submitted their entry by 1 a.m. instead or outside of the rules, but that's a different thing. The question here was that judge's decision final, relevant?
I think also wondering if there's a fraud going on. Like some companies advertise that whatever there's a prize to be won, and then actually ultimately there isn't any. Then that.
Yeah, that's dealt with under the ACL. It's a slightly different issue again, but it's absolutely. If you're going to advertise that something's available at a price, the Australian consumer law requires that you make sure you at least have those things available. Team Blue, what are you going to do?
Was that 40 points for us?
Yes, I think it was. Sorry. Judge's decision is final. No correspondence will be entered into. Team Blue, where are you going? 50 random. Go for broke. Whoops, sorry. What have I done? There we go. No, that's not it. Oh, I love this case. This is one of my favourites. What do we learn from Shahid? Didn't talk about Shahid. Okay, go. Towels on a roll.
The fact is that Shahid's a doctor.
She
applied for the training for a couple of times but unsuccessful.
So she applied to become a member of the Royal College,
Yes.
the Australasian College. So it's not, the word college there suggests training, but a college of dermatologists or a college of surgeons or whatever, it's basically a club. It's like a union, but not really. It's just, it's a bit like when we looked at Boost Cash Chemist. So it's a professional association. I love this case because I'm assuming that they didn't like her because she was a woman and that her name was vaguely Middle Eastern. So anyway, so she applied a couple of times, she got rejected. Then what happened?
And the trial judge said the college regarding stuff is not bound by the contractual concern. So in the trial judge, but later on the court appeal overturned the trial judge based on a couple of factors. When the training program is also very detailed, with a comprehensive guidance on how to apply for the appeal, and the payments for the appeal is quid pro quo for the assessment appeal.
Absolutely. So in that particular one, oh sorry.
Yeah, and I think it's good to add here that on appeal as well that the contract with the actual college took place within an actual legal framework.
Yeah.
Rather than
So what she was actually appealing is they'd said, no, you can't join our club. She appealed that decision in accordance with their rules. They even charged her. Like, they charged her to go through the process, and then they still rejected her. She challenged the basis of the rejection, and they said, oh, no, you pretty much qualify. We just don't want you in our club. And so she said, well, that's not fair. This looks like a contract. It smells like a contract. We have all of these rules. And a trial judge, probably unsurprisingly, has also been a member of similar clubs, the LIV, for example, perhaps, that it said, well, no, you know, this is a club. They should be able to reject people if they don't think that they're fit to do the job. And so she appealed it, and on appeal, the court said, no, if you're going to set out a list of rules and you're going to require payment to go through that process, then you're obliged to go through that process and apply the rules this way that you say you're going to. So, in other words, so what do we learn from it? How would you advise the College of Dermatologists if they didn't want to admit people like Dr. Shahid in the future? The judge's decision is final. No correspondence will be entered into. Ryan, what do you want to add? If you don't want to be held to a promise, don't make it look like a promise.
Yeah, and by doing that specifically, you could change your entry or rules of application for...
To basically say we don't want Middle Eastern ladies in our club. Boom, boom. She did get in the end. So... Although, as, what is it, Groucho Marx, who said, I never want to be a member of a club that would accept me as their membership. Fernwood, yeah. So, and there are some places that are allowed to do that for particular reasons. The thing is, being a member of those professional associations impacts your ability to do business. So it is also a cartel in that sense. Like, it's a great case. I am going to give you guys 50. I am going to give, what's your team again, Ram? I'm just going to give each of you an extra 1 for that. Where were you? You can have 42. And what are you? You're the Puffs. We're at 51. All right. How are we going for time? Actually, do we want one more? Or is it time to go? One more. All right. These guys up the front, where are we going? Oh, sorry. What have I've lost my plot here. Okay. You got to start at 10 somewhere. Family, or do you want to do some revision quickly? What? Family, please. 410. Okay, so why is homogeneous important? I haven't actually really talked about what Hermogenes the facts were. For those of you who don't know, Hermogenes was the archbishop of the unorthodox version of a church. He worked for 30 odd years for the church. He got paid some kind of stipend and he had a house, but he basically spent all of his time going to funerals and weddings and baptisms and counselling his congregation and doing all of that sort of stuff. And after 30 odd years, he said, I've had enough, I'm going to quit now. And so he went to the church and he asked for his long service leave and his holiday pay. And they said, no, you don't work for us. You did this out of love and affection. This is something you did for the goodness of your heart because this is a religious organisation. He said, hang on a minute, I've got a wife and kids here and there's only so, you know, I've got a heart condition because of the amount of spanakopita I had to eat. No, I just made that bit up, by the way. I'm not sure. And so the court basically, so this was the case at which we've come back to a couple of times. So why was it important?
Because the court say the intention is based on the objective the tester.
So we make an objective test. So I think it's a little bit more precise than that. I'm going to push you. So the people wanting to challenge you everywhere, I'm going to give you another chance. So what did it do with presumptions in particular? I'm upsetting you, I know. But that's good. You know it. So
for commercial, the transaction. So
for I'm going to let you. First one in is going to challenge. Go. You have to do it. I can see you're going to.
It said that the presumption is rebuttable, and that certain circumstances will be, the relationship can be part of the circumstances essentially.
Don't think there's ever been a challenge that it's like Todd and Nickel, for example, is demonstrated that the presumption was rebuttable. Rufus and Brewster as well. So I'm up here first.
Relevant to the making of legal relations, and the spiritual relations were seen as being different.
Oh, I agree that it sort of said that, but I don't think that's why it's important.
It removed the presumption from non-commercial relationships.
Remove the presumption?
There was a presumption.
So I'm sorry, Ashton and Pratt would suggest that there is still that presumption is still there. I'm getting to my friends up the front here. What have you got for me?
Establishes who has the onus in rebutting the presumption.
Yeah, the language is why it's important is it shows us that it's a low bar. There are presumptions there, but the main thing that they do is provide really who has the onus of proof in demonstrating. So I'm going to give that to these guys. So what are you again? Snail in a bottle. Oh no, I give you double for that, don't I? Sorry. Very close, but not quite there. I think we need to finish because it's time to go home. When I do the, I will do a longer shoot this weekend if anybody wants to come in. I'll send an email out, but I'll probably do from 7:30 till about 8:30. I'll go through the stuff from last week that I missed, and then from about 8:30 on, we'll finish this exercise. I will, after I've done that, because there are people who won't be here who come in, I will also share this slide pack with you because it's quite a good revision tool. And we might do something like that again. So our winners are with 91 points. Team Ram.